Hello, it's Joy from Crochet Road. Today I'm going to show you how to make a Valentine's heart really quickly and easily out of a length of Romanian cord using scraps of yarn and a piece of wire. So first of all I'll just talk about which types of materials I've used for these ones. This one is using the Capra DK yarn, which is in the blush colour. That's from KnitPicks, We Crochet, and it is 85% merino and 15% cashmere DK yarn, and it works quite well, especially if you have a nice smooth wire to go through the centre. And I did a little bow on that one for a little different technique. And then this one here is using the Drops Muskat yarn, which is another DK weight or a worsted weight cotton, I would say actually, and it is mercerised, so being that shiny finish makes the wire a little bit easier to slip through the cord when you've done that. This is 50 grams for 100 meters or 109 yards, and this is colour number 6. So that's that one. And also this little baby's very cute. I used Louie and Lola's Merino silk cashmere. This is the last little bit of the cake that I've got left here of that one, and that is a beautiful hand-dyed yarn that just shows up beautifully in the Romanian cord as well. That's a fingering weight, so with the fingering weight I used a 3.25 millimeter hook, and with the DK weight I used a 5 millimeter hook. So then the wire that you need, what I used for some of them was this armature wire that is wrapped in a plastic kind of a film. I'll show you at this end because it's coming loose. You can just see this real fine film. Now that actually helps the wire to slip through the center of your Romanian cord when you've made it, which is why I chose this one. Also, this is a 20 gauge wire, which is just the measurement that wire is given in gauge, and it is very flexible and easy to bend, but does hold its shape once you've finished flexing it into shape. So here's the 20 gauge wire that's almost 1 millimeter thick, and for a 4-ply or fingering weight heart you're going to need a finer wire to go through that. So I did use a jewelry wire. I had 22 gauge wire on hand, and it is just a little bit more than 0.5 millimeter thick, so you can see there's a difference there in the thickness of those wires. That means that this one, it is more flexible and it's easier to mold, but it also makes it a little bit harder to get through if you are making a larger heart. This one, as you can see, is quite small, so it wasn't difficult. But if you're going to make something any bigger than that, yeah, you're possibly going to struggle a little bit with a 22 gauge. So experiment, see what you can find. You can also use floristry wire, which comes in 22 gauge. I believe it also comes in a 20 gauge as well. So something that's got aluminium base is really good for this purpose. So that's the types of wire and the types of yarn. Now first of all, I have already done a tutorial on how to do the Romanian cord, so I'm not going to do that again, but I will link that in the description below and you can see exactly how to make this cord. You can experiment, of course. You can use any yarn you like. I did find that matte cotton doesn't really work very well because the wire won't go through so easily. Mind you, the wire's challenging to go through if you do your stitches too tight as well, so just loosen up when you're doing your cord and try and get the wire through nice and smoothly. So to make your heart around about the size of this one here, you'll need about 3 meters of the DK weight yarn, and what I did, I've actually just made one up with the drops Muskat yarn, and it only takes a few minutes to make this 17.5 centimetre or 7-inch length. That's around about 60 stitches, and I've left the live loop with a stitch marker in it just in case I want to remove some stitches or add some stitches at the end. Now what I do suggest is that you keep your wire length as it is. This is about 16 inches or so, and don't cut it until the end because you want to shape it first and then trim a bit of wire off the ends, so that works a little bit easier than doing it the other way around. So just try threading up you want to try and put the wire right through the center so that it's not visible from either side, and this is quite tricky. This one's working quite well for me. I can feel it's up about there. Let's have a look. See, that's not visible on either side, so that's really good. Now you've got to just wriggle it through a little bit. Keep your hand quite relaxed, both hands. Now I've found that even just working through a stitch at a time, so it's poking through there on purpose. Well, yep, you can see that there. And then I'm going to go under the next bar, through the next stitch, and come out the next stitch. And you can do it like that, and then you know you are actually going through one stitch at a time. Then still keep checking on the back, stretch it out a little bit, and make sure that you're happy that it's not showing. So I'll come back to you when I've threaded this whole thing up. Okay, so I'm happy with that. That was very quick and easy, very pain-free to go through. That hasn't shown at all through any of those stitches. And I'm just going to cut this with wire cutters around about 1 inch afterwards, just to give it a little bit of wriggle room when you're doing that shaping. And then what you want to do is find the center point, or round about the center point. That's going to be the apex of your heart. And you just want to fold it on that point at the angle that you'd like. And the thing is with this, you can make your hearts any shape you like. I like to make them traditional and round like this, but you might like long skinny hearts, and you can do whatever shape you like. So to do the top of the heart, you fold that wire in towards the center, and then the other side in towards the center. Now I'm happy with the length of that, so I'm actually going to take the stitch marker out, cut my yarn, and just fasten that off so it's ready to sew together. Now, yeah, you just might need to fiddle with that a little bit to get the shape that you want your heart to be. And you've got a little bit of wriggle room with this as well, because you can cinch the stitches up like this if you need a little bit less, but obviously I need a bit more, so you can pull them down as well and make them stretch a little bit further, so they're quite flexible. Now I am going to cut these ends. Be careful with these ends, because when you're using wire cutters, you want to close your eyes so that you don't flick it into your eye. It's wire safety. You could really be wearing glasses, safety glasses, and don't do it with children around. Also, these are not kids' toys, they're just for decoration. Now with this one, I didn't actually weave any ends in, I just left the lengths long at the start, and then I made the bow to finish it off, and that's quite cute. I think that looks fine as it is, so I didn't actually need to do any sewing at all. But with this one, and sew the ends of the cord together, so just from one side to the other, just a few stitches, easy peasy, and then weave your ends in. So just like that, and you can see that's going to come up beautifully. You can do all sorts of things with this technique. It's just something that I've thought of years ago, and I never actually had time to spend doing a video on it, but being unwell, as you can probably hear in my voice, just post-COVID, so I've had time sitting in bed and been able to do a bit of creating something different. So I hope you enjoyed that, and have a lovely Valentine's Day. And even if you don't celebrate Valentine's Day, they're fun. It's fun just to make hearts. Always nice to be able to make something like this in just a few short minutes. Have a great day, everybody. Bye for now.